They say a picture paints 1,000 words, but these unsettling images do more than that. They haunt and perplex, whispering secrets from the shadows of history. From the eerie gaze of an unknown witness to a chilling family portrait, here are 15 rare historical photos that haunt scientists and historians to this day. Number 15. The Babushka Lady. This photo shows a woman known as the Babushka Lady. At first glance, it may seem like an ordinary photo of a woman, but her identity is one of history's biggest unsolved mysteries. The story begins on November 22, 1963. On this day, chaos erupted as President John F. Kennedy was assassinated at Dealey Plaza in Dallas, Texas. In one of the photos captured, a woman stood out from the crowd. This woman wore a scarf on her head, similar to the ones worn by elderly women in Russia. She appeared to be holding a camera and seemed to be calmly filming as the shots that ended JFK's life were fired. On top of that, she remained perfectly composed and continued to film, almost as if she knew exactly what was going to happen. The FBI searched for her for years, but they were never able to locate or identify her, let alone get their hands on any potential film she might have taken on that day. Her unusually calm composure and mysterious disappearance are the main reasons why so many theories of this woman have been fueled. Some say she was a Russian spy, while others suggest she was just an ordinary citizen caught in the chaos. Needless to say, the photo of the Babushka Lady remains one of history's biggest unsolved mysteries to this day. Before we go further down the list, make sure to smash the subscribe button and click on the notification bell right now. Number 14. The Mother with 4 Children for Sale. In August 1948, a haunting photograph was taken that captured a harsh reality for many living under the poverty line. This image shows a woman named Lucille Chalifou standing alongside a sign that read, "4 Children for Sale." With her truck driver husband Ray Chalifou being jobless, they were both facing eviction from their Chicago apartment. They decided to sell their children in hopes of giving them a chance at a better life. The photograph shocked the nation and sparked a significant public outcry. Many people reached out, hoping to help the family. Despite these efforts, all of the Chalifou children were sold within 2 years, including the baby Lucille was pregnant with at the time the photo was taken. The public followed the children's stories, eager to know what became of Lana, Rayanne, Milton, Sue Ellen, and the unborn Bedford. Bedford, renamed David, was adopted by a strict but kind couple. Although he left home at 16, he went on to serve 20 years in the military and later worked as a truck driver. Rayanne and Milton were sold to John and Ruth Zoideman, where they were basically treated like slaves and forced to work on the family farm. Milton faced physical and mental abuse by John and was later institutionalized due to mental health struggles. Rayanne was kidnapped in her teens and got pregnant by her kidnapper, leading to further trauma. Sue Ann was adopted by the Johnson family, but not much is known about her life since her adoption documents got lost in a fire. It is unknown what happened to Lana. Number 13. The Black Knight Satellite. This photo shows the Black Knight Satellite, a machine of conspiracy theories. The story begins in 1899, when Nikola Tesla reported receiving unexplainable radio signals at his Colorado Springs laboratory. The signals were unlike anything he had encountered before. Tesla speculated they might be of extraterrestrial origins, a bold claim that would echo through history. Tesla's assertion of receiving signals from space was followed by a series of sightings and detections that held the scientific world in a tight grip for almost a whole century. In 1927, nearly 3 decades after Tesla's discovery, a Norwegian inventor named Jürgen Hals experienced a similar phenomenon. Hals reported receiving long-delayed radio echoes, where radio signals he transmitted would return to him several seconds later. Despite numerous attempts to explain the phenomenon, Hals couldn't explain what was truly going on. In the 1940s, interest in the Black Knight satellite was reignited when UFO researcher Donald Keyhoe claimed to have seen unusual objects orbiting Earth. However, these objects were not satellites. The first satellite wasn't launched until 1957. Keyhoe's observations suggested something unusual was orbiting our planet, beyond the realm of conventional science. When the first satellite was finally launched, a U.S. Navy radar spotted a dark object in polar orbit in 1960. This was unusual, as most satellites were launched into equatorial orbits. The object's trajectory suggested a path designed for surveillance, fueling suspicions of its non-earthly origin. The Department of Defense quickly explained the object as space debris, specifically a fragment from an Air Force satellite. However, nobody believed them. You see, for those who believed in the Black Knight satellite, the detection was seen as validation of a long-standing mystery that could not be easily dismissed. Nearly 100 years after Tesla's initial reports, this photo was finally captured in 1998, showing an enigmatic dark object traveling through space. The image quickly circulated among conspiracy theorists who believed it to be the Black Knight satellite, an object that had been sending signals for almost a century. This image further spread the story about the extraterrestrial spacecraft that has been spying on us since 1899, despite NASA identifying it as space debris from the Air Force. The image became iconic, symbolizing the mystery of the Black Knight and the possibility of extraterrestrial surveillance. Number 12. The Skunk Ape. In the year 2000, an anonymous envelope carrying a letter and a series of photographs arrived at the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office. The person who left the envelope described how they had been tormented by strange noises at night and decided to leave a camera out to catch the culprit. What they found was haunting, a shadowy figure lurking in the swamps. The creature in this photo is known as the Skunk Ape, described as a large, hulking figure with long arms and a thick coat of hair, emitting an incredibly foul odor similar to a skunk. Sightings of the skunk ape have been reported in Florida for more than a century. One of the earliest accounts dates to the 1920s, when a terrified driver reported a hairy creature leaping onto his car's running board before vanishing into the murky swamps. In 1957, a group of hunters camping in the Everglades claimed that a giant, ape-like creature, its eyes glowing ominously in the dark, raided their camp in the dead of night, leaving behind a trail of destruction as the hunters fled in terror. The legend of the skunk ape had a massive turning point when David Shealy, a self-proclaimed skunk ape expert, began sharing his own experiences. Shealy, raised amidst the swamps of South Florida, claims he first encountered the skunk ape as a child. This sighting became his obsession, driving him to find irrefutable evidence of the creature's existence, even setting up a research center and offering guided tours to those willing to face the shadows where sightings have occurred. In 2000, Shealy captured what he asserts is the most compelling video footage of the skunk ape to date: an eerie silhouette, a large, hairy figure moving with unnatural swiftness through the swamps. Despite facing skepticism from scientists who dismiss the skunk ape as a myth, Shealy remains unwavering in his conviction, convinced that something otherworldly stalks the Floridian swamps, hidden beneath the tangled canopy. Number 11. The Mystery of the Solway Firth Spaceman. On the sunny afternoon of May 23, 1964, Jim Templeton, a firefighter and amateur photographer, took his family to Burgh Marsh in Cumbria for what was supposed to be a relaxing day out. Little did they know, something eerie awaited them. Jim, eager to capture precious memories, took several photos of his 5-year-old daughter, Elizabeth, as she posed in a pretty dress, overlooking the Solway Firth. But when the family returned home and Jim developed the photos, he was utterly disturbed by what he saw. In the background of the picture he took of Elizabeth, a shadowy, mysterious figure resembling an astronaut in a white spacesuit stood ominously behind her. The figure seemed to loom over the innocent child, though Jim was certain no one else had been there when he snapped the picture. Determined to find answers, Jim took the photograph to a local newspaper, hoping that someone could explain the mysterious figure. The newspaper published the photo, which quickly gained international attention, becoming infamously known as the Solway Firth Spaceman. Experts, including Kodak, confirmed the image was genuine and unaltered. Deepening the mystery, UFO enthusiasts whispered theories of extraterrestrial visitors, while others speculated about time travelers. The plot thickened further when Jim reported that a test missile launch in Australia was aborted, after technicians claimed to see figures resembling spacemen at the firing range. Yet, despite all the wild theories, a growing number of people believe the astronaut in the background was simply Jim's wife, Annie, present that day. Is the figure in the photo a spaceman, a time traveler, or simply a trick of light and perspective? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Number 10. A big mountain of bison skulls. In 1892, a haunting photograph captured a grim scene outside the Michigan Carbon Works in Rougeville, Michigan. This chilling image reveals an enormous pile of bison skulls stacked high against the sky, a stark reminder of one of the darkest chapters in American history. You see, decades before this photograph was taken, the bison, also known as the American buffalo, roamed the Great Plains in staggering numbers. Estimates suggest that 30 to 60 million of these majestic creatures once wandered the North American grasslands, stretching from Canada all the way to Mexico. However, with the relentless westward expansion of European settlers, the bison faced an unprecedented threat. To the settlers, the bison were mere obstacles to progress. Hunters began slaughtering them by the millions for sport, meat, and hides. The insatiable demand for bison leather and tongues in the East only fueled the massacre. Even more sinister, the extermination of bison was viewed as a strategy to weaken Native American tribes who relied heavily on the bison for survival. By the 1880s, the relentless hunting had taken its toll. The bison population, once numbering in the tens of millions, had been reduced to a mere few hundred individuals. This dramatic decline sparked early conservation efforts by concerned citizens, naturalists, and politicians. Thanks to these initiatives, the bison population has rebounded to around 500,000 today, with approximately 30,000 living in protected areas and nature reserves, including Yellowstone Park. The massive pile of skulls in the photograph outside the Michigan Carbon Works represents not just the physical loss of the bison, but also the profound ecological and cultural impact of their near extinction. Number 9. Cooper family photo. This photo was taken in the 1950s when the Cooper family moved to their new home in Texas, capturing what should have been a joyous family moment. At first glance, the image seems to portray an ordinary family scene, but then you notice it, the eerie silhouette of what appears to be a body falling from the ceiling. Known as the falling body photo, this unsettling image has captivated the imagination of both paranormal enthusiasts and skeptics alike. The mysterious figure has led to many theories over the years. Some believe the figure is a ghost or spirit haunting the Cooper family's new home. They suggest that the house harbors a dark history, perhaps the spirit of a former inhabitant, forever lingering, caught between worlds. Skeptics, however, argue that the photo is nothing more than a hoax, a manipulated image designed to deceive. They claim the photograph is the result of double exposure, a common photography technique where two images are superimposed. Despite these claims, the Cooper family has consistently maintained that the photo is unaltered. Despite the various theories and numerous attempts to prove the photo has been manipulated, the Cooper family photo has never been debunked. Until new evidence emerges, the truth behind the Cooper family photo will remain a shadowy enigma, leaving us to ponder the possibilities of what lies beyond our understanding. Number 8. The Fresno Nightcrawlers. In 2007, a resident of Fresno, California, found himself puzzled by the eerie behavior of his dogs. They had been barking non-stop at night, as if something strange was lurking just outside his home. He decided to set up a security camera, hoping to uncover what might be causing the disturbance. What he discovered was both shocking and baffling. A pair of mysterious white pants-like creatures gliding eerily across his front yard. These unusual beings would come to be known as the Fresno Nightcrawlers. The security camera footage revealed two strange figures moving smoothly and silently through the night. The eerie, otherworldly creatures had extremely long legs and a minimal upper body, giving them the uncanny appearance of walking pants. The resident, startled by what he had captured, shared the footage online, where it quickly went viral. People were captivated by the bizarre sight of the Nightcrawlers, and theories about their origins began to circulate. Was this an elaborate hoax or something beyond human comprehension? Some accounts describe them as 5 to 7 feet tall, although the quality of the footage makes it difficult to determine their exact size. Since the initial sighting in Fresno, reports of Nightcrawler sightings have emerged in other locations, including Yosemite National Park. Park officials managed to capture similar creatures on camera as well, further adding to the intrigue and deepening the mystery. Despite numerous sightings and analyses, no definitive evidence has emerged to prove their existence or explain their origin. The Fresno Nightcrawlers remain one of the most enigmatic phenomena in cryptozoology, leaving us to wonder what might still be lurking in the shadows. Number 7. The Hook Island Sea Monster. Off the coast of Hook Island, Queensland, Australia, lies one of the most enduring mysteries of the sea, the Hook Island Sea Monster. For decades, tales of this giant sea creature have captured the imaginations of locals and cryptid enthusiasts alike. The story of the Hook Island Sea Monster began in 1964 when Robert Le Serec and his family visited Stonehaven Bay on Hook Island. Robert, an experienced adventurer, was with his wife and a family friend when they reported witnessing something they had never seen before. While exploring the water around the island, the group noticed a strange, dark being moving beneath the surface. As they moved closer in their boat, they realized they were looking at a massive creature lying on the seabed. It was then that Robert took out his camera and quickly snapped several photographs of the creature. The photos depict a dark, snake-like creature with a gaping mouth and large, glassy eyes. The images are eerie and compelling, capturing what looks like an enormous sea monster just below the water's surface. Le Serec described the creature as being around 80 feet long with smooth black skin. Right after Robert took the picture, the creature moved away, disappearing into the depths of the ocean. The photographs taken by Robert Le Serec continue to spark debates, and to this day, the existence of the Hook Island Sea Monster remains an unsolved mystery. The deep waters off Hook Island hold their secrets tight, leaving us to wonder what other unknown creatures might dwell beneath the waves. Number 6. The Ghost Army of World War II. During World War II, a secret unit known as the Ghost Army played a crucial yet often overlooked role in the Allied victory. The Ghost Army was established in 1944, also known as the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, a unique group of 1,100 men. However, this troop didn't only consist of soldiers, it also included artists, designers, and engineers, and their mission was unlike any other military troop seen in history. The Ghost Army's purpose was to use deception and creativity to mislead the enemy about the strength, size, and location of the Allied forces. By using tactical deception, this unit turned the tide of war by confusing and distracting German forces. The Ghost Army was a master of illusions. One of their most famous tactics involved using inflatable rubber tanks, trucks, and artillery. They created fake insignia and painted false tracks on the road to make it look like heavy vehicles had passed through, making it appear as though a large military presence was gathered in an area. They combined this with broadcast recordings of troop movements, tank engines, and construction work, played over loudspeakers that could be heard miles away. On top of all this, they used fake radio transmissions and employed skilled radio operators who created false radio traffic to simulate communications of entire divisions. These tactics created the illusion of large armies, while the real army was advancing elsewhere. One of the Ghost Army's most significant contributions was during the lead-up to D-Day, the Allied invasion of Normandy on June 6, 1944. They set up a fake 1st U.S. Army group in southeast England, complete with inflatable Sherman tanks, dummy landing craft, and false radio traffic. This led the Germans into believing that a massive invasion force was poised to strike at Pas-de-Calais, causing them to divert troops away from Normandy. This significantly contributed to the success of the Normandy landings and the eventual liberation of Europe. Despite their success, the Ghost Army's existence remained a closely guarded secret for many years. It wasn't until decades later that their story was officially acknowledged and celebrated, revealing the ingenuity and bravery of those who fought with shadows and sound. Number 5. Project Pigeon. World War II was a time of intense innovation, with countries racing to develop advanced weapons and strategies. Among these efforts was the unconventional Project Pigeon, which sought to use pigeons to guide missiles. While this might sound like a science fiction movie, it was a real attempt to leverage the cognitive abilities of birds for military purposes. The brain behind Project Pigeon was B.F. Skinner, a renowned psychologist and pioneer in the field of behaviorism. Skinner was known for his work on operant conditioning, a method involving the reinforcement of desired behaviors through rewards and punishments. At the time, the U.S. military faced challenges with missile guidance systems which lacked the precision needed for effective targeting. Skinner proposed using pigeons, known for their excellent vision and trainability, to guide missiles accurately. The concept of Project Pigeon was both straightforward and ingenious. Skinner designed a special nose cone for the missile, which housed 3 pigeon-sized cockpits equipped with tiny screens displaying an image of the target. The pigeons were trained to peck at the image on the screen to keep it centered. Their pecking movements were translated into electronic signals that adjusted the missile's course, ensuring it stayed on target. To train the pigeons, Skinner used operant conditioning techniques, rewarding the birds with hemp seeds when they pecked correctly. Over time, the pigeons learned to associate the target with a reward, making them highly effective at guiding the missile. To increase reliability, 3 pigeons were used per missile, ensuring any errors were corrected by the majority. Despite the project's innovative approach, Project Pigeon faced significant skepticism from military officials. The National Defense Research Committee funded it with $25,000, but using birds to guide missiles seemed too eccentric, too unorthodox to be taken seriously. As electronic guidance systems became more reliable and practical, the need for pigeon-guided missiles diminished. Ultimately, Project Pigeon was canceled in October 1944, and the pigeons were returned to civilian life, never having been deployed in actual combat. Number 4. Ernest Hemingway's Six-Toed Cats. Ernest Hemingway, the iconic American writer known for his novels and adventurous lifestyle, had a lesser-known passion that occupied his heart: his love for cats. This fondness for felines began in the 1930s when a ship's captain named Stanley Dexter gifted Hemingway a white polydactyl cat named Snow White. Polydactyl cats, also known as Hemingway cats, possess a genetic mutation that gives them extra toes on their paws. While this trait is unusual, it does not harm the cats and often adds a distinctive charm to their appearance, resembling mittens or snowshoes. Hemingway's home in Key West, which he purchased in 1931, became a sanctuary for his beloved cats. Today, Hemingway's Key West home is a museum, and it remains the residence of around 40 to 50 cats, many of whom are descendants of Snow White. Approximately half of these cats have the polydactyl trait, continuing the genetic legacy of Hemingway's original pet. The cats are cared for by dedicated museum staff, who ensure they receive regular veterinary checkups, vaccinations, and any necessary medical treatment. The cats are free to wander the property, much as they did in Hemingway's time, charming visitors and embodying the spirit of their famous owner. The property includes a small cemetery where generations of Hemingway cats are laid to rest. Each gravestone is marked with the name of the cat, honoring their place in the family and history of the home. Hemingway's tradition of naming his cats after famous people continues to this day, reflecting Hemingway's wit and love for the arts. Number 3. A gas-resistant baby stroller. Imagine walking into a baby store today looking for the perfect stroller and coming across a strange, almost eerie contraption. It doesn't resemble the sleek, modern designs we're accustomed to. Instead, it looks like a small tank on wheels, complete with a hand pump and a protective window. In the 1930s, the world was still reeling from the horrors of World War I, where chemical weapons like chlorine and mustard gas caused immense suffering and casualties on the battlefield. The traumatic memories of chemical warfare left a deep scar on Europe's collective psyche. The fear that such deadly weapons might be used again, this time against civilians, was very real. As tensions rose and the prospect of another global conflict loomed, people began to prepare for the worst. Civilians were equipped with gas masks and protective measures were developed, including gas-resistant prams or baby strollers. These strollers were designed to protect the most vulnerable members of society, infants and young children, from the threat of poison gas attacks. They were essentially small mobile gas chambers, equipped with features meant to keep babies safe in the event of an attack. They had a small window allowing parents to see their child inside and a hand-operated pump that filtered air through a special charcoal filter, ensuring the baby could breathe safely. Despite their practical purpose, gas-resistant prams quickly fell out of fashion after the war. Their morbid appearance earned them the nickname coffins on wheels, and once the immediate threat of chemical attacks subsided, parents returned to more traditional strollers. The strollers remain an example of the lengths to which people would go to ensure their children's safety in uncertain times. Number 2. The unexplainable picture of 1,200 men. In the early 1800s, photography was in its infancy. The process known as heliography was invented, one of the earliest forms of capturing images. This method required an astonishing 8 hours of exposure to capture a single still image, and the results were often blurry and indistinct. As the years passed, technological advancements improved the quality and accessibility of photography. By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, cameras had become more sophisticated, allowing for shorter exposure times and clearer images. In 1903, a photograph was taken that would change the course of photography and become one of the most mysterious images ever captured. This photo, featuring the Kexholm Guard Infantry Regiment stationed in Warsaw, was captured an entire century ago. Measuring only about 42 by 96 centimeters, this image contains an astounding level of detail. It captures the faces of approximately 1,200 men, each one clear and distinguishable, even when zoomed in and enhanced. The precision and clarity of this photograph are truly remarkable, especially considering the technological limitations of the time. The question of how George R. Lawrence managed to capture such an intricate and detailed photograph has baffled experts for over a century, and remains a mystery to this day. Number 1. The unidentified tank man. On June 5, 1989, Beijing's Tiananmen Square became the epicenter of a powerful moment in history. The square was filled with pro-democracy protesters who initially gathered to demonstrate their dissatisfaction with the government. As tensions rose, the government decided to take action against the protesters. Amidst this turbulent scene, a lone figure emerged as a symbol of defiance, a man who would later be known as Tank Man. Wearing a simple white shirt and clutching 2 shopping bags, Tank Man fearlessly stepped in front of a column of advancing tanks. With a raised hand, he signaled for them to halt, and astonishingly, they did. As the lead tank tried to maneuver around him, he repeatedly blocked its path, climbing onto the vehicle at one point in an attempt to communicate with the crew inside. This dramatic standoff lasted for several minutes until 2 unknown individuals pulled him away, his identity and fate remaining a mystery. Photographs of Tank Man, particularly Jeff Widener's iconic image, quickly spread around the world. The identity of Tank Man remains a mystery, with some suggesting he was a student named Wang Weilin. However, Chinese authorities claim they do not know who he is or what happened to him. To this day, the world continues to wonder about the man who stood alone against the might of a government, forever immortalized as a testament to human courage. If there are any other historical mysteries you'd like us to explore, let us know in the comments below and feel free to share your thoughts and suggestions. Also, don't forget to check more interesting stuff showing up on the screen. I'll see you in the next video.